This week's episode is brought to you by the letter M for March and by the number 47 because Austin and Tim traveled back in time to March 14th, 1947 using their time machine to watch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movies. 1. The Best Years of Our Lives. 2. San Quentin. 3. Henry V. 4. Scarface. 5. Suddenly It's Spring. And 6. Notorious. V is for veterans. C is for convicts. K is for kings. G is for gangsters. S is for sexy girls in lingerie. And N is for Nazis. What's that spell? Absolutely nothing. But all of that is featured on this week's episode of Film Geek Time Machine.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Film Geek Time Machine. I'm your host, Austin Kennedy.
I'm Tim Kaiser, Austin.
Yay, nice to meet you.
1947.
1947.
Let's go. You know what 1947 is?
Huh.
It's the fucking best year of my life.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, I wasn't alive, but sure.
And on this podcast is the podcast where we go back in time to a random date, and this was kind of a random date. Sort of not. Actually, not really.
Let's see. Anything within this 2-week span was random. Okay.
So next to a random date. But anyways, what we do is we pick a date and we look at the newspaper from that date, and then we pick movies, usually 5 to 8 movies, and we will have a movie marathon, and we watch them there. We actually go back in time and watch them.
We do.
That's what we do.
Actual plutonium time machine.
That's right. March 14th, 1947 is the day that we went back in time to this time. The reason why we picked it was because at the start of the season, I asked him, I'm like, hey, is there any movies that you would like to talk about? And you said, yes, I would like to talk about the best years of our lives. I'd like to discuss that movie on the podcast. I'm like, okay. And that came out in 1946. That won a Best Picture in 1946. So I looked in 1946. It did not come out in Minneapolis, Minnesota until March 14th, 1947.
That's weird. Until after it had won the awards.
Yeah. And it actually says, so we're looking at the ad, it actually says it won more awards than for any other picture. And
Does they mean just in that year or ever?
Maybe that year. I don't. And then it says
because
first.
I can believe it winning Best Picture. I can believe it winning Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah.
The actors are good, but I don't think they're award-winning good.
But Frederick March won as well for Best Actor. Yeah.
Okay.
But anyways, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
So
only slightly. It's the first movie.
right. It is the first movie. So. But the time period, so there isn't really much we could find of like as far as the number one songs and stuff. But the number one songs around that time,
I don't know.
You can say that Managua, Nicaragua, Freddie Martin and his orchestra with Stuart Wade. I listened to it. It's kind of fun.
Okay.
Anniversary song with Dinah Shore.
Dinah
Shore did that song.
Was she 12?
No. She was just older in the 70s. She was like 50s in the 70s.
Was she?
Yeah,
okay. I don't remember thinking she was that old, I guess.
And then Heartaches was Ted Weems, which is like an instrumental. So it's a lot of like kind of jazzy stuff. This was before rock and roll, obviously. Yeah. By Count Basie.
But there's also another version of it.
Oh.
The Three Flames. 2 versions of that same song.
Oh, that's weird.
Charted at the exact same time.
The Old Lamplighter with Swing and Sway with Sammy Kaye. Then there is some television stuff. Really, they only have like the NBC stuff that we're looking at. So this was Friday, and this is what we had.
It was on NBC?
Yeah, and it was pretty much...
well, it's because there
1947
was...
it was very early.
TV barely existed.
And there really wasn't any... Like, as far as scripted television shows, this was like Campus Hoopla, which was a game show.
There's a lot of local
You Are an Artist, and then I Love to Eat.
That was a game show? I see you had clicked on it.
I did. So it's a cooking show hosted by James Beard, I guess.
I think I've heard of James Beard.
Maybe. That was what was on television in 1947.
But it might have been I Had a Beard.
So these were the other movies that in the newspaper. We'll take a look here that we didn't pick. So there's the Fighting Frontiersman, James Cagney in 13 Room Madeline, Edward G. Robinson in The Red House.
The Show Off. That's a couple of showings of The Show Off, whatever the hell that is.
So we should have saw California because we already saw Texas. But
we should have seen California.
But it had Ray Milland in it again.
What?
So, yeah,
oh, wow.
And Barry,
a younger
actually,
Ray Milland.
Yeah, that was right around
We
the
could have seen Humoresque.
with Joan Crawford and John Garfield. Tyrone Power. Oh, that wasn't out yet. Next Friday, there's an advertisement for next Friday, The Razor's Edge.
Oh, we couldn't see that then.
We did not see it.
Our time machine doesn't work quite that well.
No.
We can't go to multiple times.
The Jolson story would have been interesting about the Al Jolson. We didn't see that.
I wonder, it's 47. There still would have been blackface in that movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. We got Gallant Best, Secret Heart, Cockeyed Miracle.
Ooh, very cockeyed.
Perfect Marriage, King's Row. I want to say that there's Robert Cummings, but I think Ronald Reagan was in that, early Ronald Reagan. So what we picked 6 movies. So obviously Best Years of Our Lives, that was the first one we did at 10 a.m. We saw a B movie, San Quentin. Now this is the 1946 one. There's a 37 movie.
There's a bunch of other ones just called Escape from San Quentin.
Yeah.
If you look up San Quentin, you might screw up and see the wrong thing. Okay?
Right. San Quentin. Lawrence Tierney stars in it, who he's best known for, amongst film geeks these days, as playing Joe, the old man in Reservoir Dogs. He's the guy that sets up the heist.
Yes.
And stuff. Yep.
Yeah. I totally knew that.
And we'll talk
way before this.
And we'll talk more about Lawrence Tierney, because I got some history
I was
on Lawrence
talking
Tierney.
to a friend of mine, the fact that I had seen that movie literally a half hour ago, and he goes, "Oh yeah, blah blah blah, it's Reservoir Dogs."
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, "Oh, well, Austin already knew that."
I sure did. Yeah, that's actually kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to see it, because I wanted to see Lawrence Tierney in an older movie. But okay, then we also have Laurence Olivier in, this is our first Shakespeare movie, Henry V.
It is.
So, and this was actually made in 44, but it got a release in 46, and now it's 47, so it's still out.
It's an actual Shakespeare.
We also saw the 1932 Scarface.
Yes.
So we saw that, yes.
Classic.
The classic one. Yes.
Not even more classic than the 1940s movies.
And then suddenly it's spring.
Yeah, which nobody's heard of.
Right.
It has a big ad.
I never heard of this.
Ain't nobody fucking heard of this movie.
It's the biggest ad in the
It is.
in the
It's
paper.
It's real big.
But it's Fred McMurray.
I mean, it's mostly because they got that statuette.
What's Paulette Goddard and Fred McMurray.
Yeah, we have become Fred McMurray fans.
That's right.
Ever since Mutiny.
Kane Mutiny.
Kane
yeah,
Mutiny,
yeah.
that's what it was.
And then Alfred Hitchcock. This is our 4th Hitchcock movie.
It is.
Notorious. The only movie of these that I've seen before was Best Years of Our Lives. Was that the only one that you've seen too?
Only one I had ever seen.
Okay.
And having watched them all, I'm like, I don't think, I mean, there was a chance I had seen Scarface stuff, but I'm like, no, it just feels like you've seen Scarface.
Right. So the Best Years of Our Life, this was a very important film. This was directed by William Wyler. Now, we already did a William Wyler movie. We did Dead End. He directed Dead End.
Does he only make fantastic movies? Is that what's going on here?
Yeah, he directed Ben-Hur, and
Okay.
he's pretty highly regarded.
Okay.
As a good filmmaker.
I wonder why. Because of how fucking amazing.
Yeah, the Best Years of Life. So this was an interesting film when it came out, because it's a big World War II movie, and at this time, America was all America rah 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 kind of thing, and there was a lot of like pro-war films that were coming out during the war and then after the war. This was the first one to actually deal with veterans coming home and having not a great experience.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so this was a very important film.
It ends
when it came
where
out.
they're all happy.
Oh yeah.
But they are not happy for 90% of this movie. They are all fucking miserable.
Right, and so it's kind of a bittersweet movie because it's called The Best Years of Our Lives, and I think
it's more. It's like a comment on the fact that they threw away the best years of their life.
Yeah.
Okay?
I think so. But yeah,
although one of them was like 45 when he went to war. So.
Right, which I think was common in World War II.
Yeah. He was like a doctor or something like that.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know.
Well,
I guess
so
for some reason I'm not 100% clear, but I loved him.
Oh yeah, so it follows 3 veterans, and they're all very different, and they come from different backgrounds.
It kind of mostly follows 2, and then there is the 3rd one who isn't in it as much, but is the best one.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, you got I have to go to the casting because I always forget characters' names. But yeah, anyways, Frederick Marks plays Al, and then Dana Andrews is Captain Fred Dury. The other guy is Harold Russell, and he plays Petty Officer 2nd Class Homer Parrish. Yeah. And so they kind of meet when they're going on a flight home. They're all kind of waiting to go home. They're kind of like on waiting lists and stuff. And they're like, hey, why don't you hop on this plane and we'll hop on this bomber and we'll fly home. So they all fly home, and Dana Andrews is familiar with it because he was a bomber during the war.
Yeah.
So he was like, oh yeah, this is where the bombardier is, and he's like talking about that stuff.
He was the guy who was actually doing the bombing
Right.
part. He wasn't the pilot or anything.
No.
He was in the bombing, I don't know, whatever the bombardier,
Right.
like, window. Okay.
So they're going to their Midwestern hometown. It's Boone City, which is a made up. It's a made up.
It's made up. And it actually seems like it's a relatively sizable city.
It's a pretty big city. So when I was thinking of Boone City, I'm like, oh, is this like a hick town? But
No,
I'm like,
but they got like
oh,
taxis, and it takes them a
it
long
seems
ass
like
time to
it's
get around
like
in those
Cincinnati
taxis.
or something.
Yeah,
or it's like,
yeah, probably similar to that. It seems to be, Cincinnati or Cleveland. Something like that.
It's like a
It's
mid-size.
not Chicago. It might be
Milwaukee.
It might be Minneapolis. Okay.
Yeah, it could
something
be.
like that.
They all happen to be going to the same town, so they kind of get to know each other. And like, oh yeah, and they talk about like, oh yeah, I have a wife, or and then Homer's like, oh yeah, I have a fiance. But the thing is with Homer, it's really interesting. So he has hooks for hands, so he doesn't.
Yes.
He has no hands.
And they didn't cast a chump and put him in hook hands.
No.
They cut a guy's hands off. No, they found a guy who had actually lost his hands in the war.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And he was not an actor.
He was not an actor.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's the best actor in this movie.
Yeah,
Mostly because he doesn't have to act.
Yeah, it's Harold
All
Russell.
this shit happened to him.
Yeah, absolutely. And then all the other two are just like going back. And one is like Frederick March. He's kind of, I wouldn't say rich, but he's pretty.
He was wealthy.
Upper middle
He
class.
didn't seem like he was an officer because, in actuality, the other guy actively says, "I outrank you."
Yeah,
at
he's a
one
captain.
point.
He's a captain.
He's a
yeah.
captain.
You find
In
out
a
that Dana
different- in a
Andrews.
different branch of the services.
Well, Dana Andrews, Captain Fred Dury, he was like a soda jerk, and he literally wasn't anybody. But he met someone during when he was in service,
yep.
and then married her.
Yeah, but then he disappeared for a year because he went to service.
Yeah. And then he came back and seen her. So there's all three different stories. So one of the stories is the Frederick March, and you kind of find out that he's kind of a little bit of an alcoholic.
Well, I think maybe he became an alcoholic.
Absolutely.
He came back and he immediately gets blitzed that night.
Yeah.
And he brings his entire family.
Played,
he doesn't bring
and
his
his,
son. He brings his mother, his wife, and his daughter.
His wife is played by Myrna Loy, who's a really great actress. I really like her a lot. And then Teresa Wright plays
As much as
Peggy.
I said,
Yeah.
what's this?
March?
That Homer is the best actor.
Yeah.
Everybody in this movie is fantastic actor.
I would say so.
They're all they crush every scene
right.
they're in.
It goes back and forth between the three lives, and Frederick March is he's struggling with works at a bank, but the thing is he's a little softer now, like he wants to give like veterans loans and stuff, but that's not good for the bank actually.
If you show up and say, I'm a vet and I need a loan to buy a bank, he goes, here's your money.
Yeah, right. And which gets him in trouble a little bit. Dana Andrews is struggling trying to find his place, trying to get a job, and he can't, so he ends up back at the soda fountain where he's working at.
Yeah,
and then
where he said he was never going back to.
Yeah, he said he was never going to do it. And then his wife hates it because she just wants to go out on the town and party. And then, meanwhile, Dana Andrews Captain Fred Dury has his eyes on Al's daughter. And they kind of have a connection there, too. So
yeah, he meets her when he's drunk.
Yeah.
He wakes up at their house after getting drunk that
and he
night
thinks that maybe
with his new best friend.
Right. The Homer story is more struggling with him. Like, he is scared that his fiance won't want him because of his hands. And is very upset about it. But even though she's pretty much all in, like
she in some ways, I would actually say she is the most rookie actor in this movie. Though.
Yeah.
She doesn't. I mean, she's trying to act like a little kid, but she's going a little bit too much. Act like you're not supposed to be 12. Okay? Yeah. You're supposed to be.
She was like 16, 17,
you're supposed to
maybe.
be like 18
or
something like that. But you're acting like you're 8 years old.
Right.
Okay?
But she's kind of all in. Like she's, I
still love you.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not.
But he is not seeing it because he just has this vision that he's a monster in his head.
That nobody could possibly.
Yeah. There's a great scene in the movie where
the vets actually, I think he's actively willing to be their friends. Yeah. Because he feels they at least understand what has happened.
Yep.
Okay.
And his other family.
But his family's never going to understand.
Right. And his mom is pretty upset about it. And, but he doesn't want people to make it a big deal because everyone's like, hey, let me help you with that luggage. Like, nope, I got it. I got it.
Here's the thing. Because he really did lose his hand.
Yeah.
He's really fucking good with those
yeah, right.
And I'm like,
every once in a while he'll drop something, but I mean, I drop things all the time.
So it's like he takes a pen out and he signs something. And I'm like, I can barely do it with actual hands. Okay.
No, so that was interesting, and but I really did like that. That she, she comes around and she's just like, look, I can show you. Actually, a great scene in the movie is when he's like, you know what? If you want to see what it's really like to be with me, that you're going to have to come and see how I go to bed.
Yeah.
And so he takes his arm.
Okay, I'll tell you the story. One of the times I watched this with my mother.
Okay.
Because she had never seen it.
Oh, a while ago?
This was probably like 15 years ago.
Yeah, okay.
And when that scene happened, because I told her that he won his Academy Award.
He won a special award and the actual Oscar.
He actually got 2 awards.
Because
they didn't think he was going to win.
They didn't think he was going to win.
But anybody watched this movie is like, of course he fucking won. What the fuck? Okay? But she was watching it and she liked the movie a lot. But when that scene came up, she goes, that's why he won.
Yeah.
That fucking scene
is really good.
Is so fucking heartbreaking.
It's really good.
It's so, God, just, I was choked up for most of this
So this is a 2 hour and 52-minute movie, so it's almost 3 hours.
By.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't feel long.
By.
Doesn't feel long. For me, everyone's pretty good in the movie. Dan Andrews is a little, no, he's the weak side. He's the weakest link for me.
Which one?
Dan Andrews. He's Captain Fred Durry.
Oh, yeah.
For me, he's the weakest link.
But there are times where I love him.
Yeah.
He breaks up with the wife.
Yeah.
And he is trying to just like leave town.
Yeah.
Near the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And he sees all those derelict planes.
That was a great scene.
And he gets in one.
Yeah.
Also, that shot is fucking mind-blowing.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Well, I think it's not harder when at the time, there almost certainly were entire graveyards of these ships, of these planes.
Yeah, no,
but they took
that was a real
shot
graveyard. Yeah.
So fucking good.
Yeah.
And then he gets in one, and he's just sitting there.
Yeah.
And the look on his face is just devastating.
Yeah.
Because he had to get back in there, but he didn't want to do this.
Right.
But he fucking had to do it.
Yeah.
It's just, this fucking movie, it's so fucking amazing. I cried at least 15 times in this fucking movie.
I don't know if I've cried. Well, maybe. No, I did cry
You're
at the
an
scene.
unfeeling monster!
No. I did get a little misty when he went up there and said the Russell scene. That scene got me. But yeah, I do think, I don't know if I'm a monster for this, but I think it gets a little over sentimental at times for me.
I think part of it is
a little syrupy.
I will tell you the story about this movie for me now.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s,
yes,
for like 6 months, I lived with my grandparents.
Yeah.
I moved back to small town Wisconsin, and I lived upstairs in the upstairs apartment they had.
Okay.
And for most of that time, I just sat there watching TV.
Okay.
It's when I found, in the middle of the fucking night, Helter Skelter came on, the miniseries.
Oh,
the whole damn thing. And I'm like, well, I didn't sleep that night. And that's where I saw Yankee Doodle Dandy. Yeah. And I'm like, do I fucking like musicals? Apparently I like musicals. Okay. That was when I found out I like musicals.
Oh, cool.
And also, this movie came on.
Yeah.
And with commercials means I sat there for fucking 4 hours watching this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I did not expect this movie to be this good.
Yeah, it's really good.
I was a stupid young punk in the 90s. I assumed movies from the 40s, those are fucking old man movies.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, this movie's like really good.
No, it's pretty good, and I think it holds up for the most part.
Yeah.
Like I said, I do think it's a little schmaltzy at times, and I think that scene when Frederick March gets drunk, I think he does a little too much overacting with the drunken stuff.
He is a little
too acty.
He is a little too acty in that.
In that scene.
But that's also the start of the relationship between the two younger people.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And they meet Homer.
Yeah.
And that's the start of the Homer's uncle literally just not letting him drink in his own bar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God damn it. This movie just, because there's stuff I did not remember until I watched it this time. I'm like, I didn't remember that his uncle legitimately just treats him the exact fucking same as he did before.
I love it.
And I think that's why, I think anybody who came back from service would normally be annoyed by that.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's the only one who still treats him exactly the same, he's like, not going to complain.
Right.
This is exactly what I want. Okay?
So, yeah. So as far as the performances, Harold Russell is amazing in the film as Homer. I think Myrna Loy is, for me, as Al's wife. I really like her in the movie.
She is really good.
That's probably my second favorite performance in the movie.
Yeah.
Frederick March is good, except for the drunk scene is a little over the top.
And you said he won.
He did win Best Actor.
Okay.
Yes.
He's not bad.
No. I'm not upset that he won. It's fine.
Like I said, I believe it makes sense as being the best movie, and I believe his best supporting actor stuff makes perfect sense.
Absolutely. Let's see what...
This is one of the things where, and it still happens in movies, you want to cast somebody who's handicapped.
Yeah.
And then you just get a guy who's not handicapped.
Yeah.
Just fucking get a deaf person, get a blind person, get a guy without an arm.
Really good.
Do any of these things. Do what you're supposed to fucking do, you morons.
This one, won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor Frederick March, Best Supporting Actor Harold Russell, Best Screenplay, Best Film Editing, Best scoring of a dramatic or comedy picture, best sound recording, was nominated for that, didn't win that.
Honorary award.
But then won an honorary award for Harold Russell, yeah. So that's
crazy. He has
pretty...
two. And if I remember, I heard he sold those at some point.
Yeah, he did.
But he's not in the guild, so they couldn't do shit about it.
I think this is a really solid movie. I'm probably going to get it a lot lower than you. I give it a strong 3.
I'm giving it a 4.
I knew you'd give it a 4.
Well, and I can also see that, yes, it can get schmaltzy, but for some reason that schmaltziness just fucking talks to me.
This is an absolutely watchable picture, and it's a really good movie.
And it
flies
by.
It flies by real
3
fast.
hours,
yeah.
and I'm like, fuck, that movie's over?
Yeah.
Wow, because we have some shorter movies in here that
seem longer.
A lot fucking longer.
It's probably movie. Yeah. I would say this almost seems like the shortest of the movies. Maybe
it kind of does. It kind of does.
Yeah, best years of our lives. That's that. So next movie is San Quentin. So this is a B movie. This movie's
like an hour and 7 minutes.
It is.
A lot
really
longer.
It does. Yeah. So the reason why I wanted to watch it is Lawrence Tierney, who plays Joe. He is notorious for having a bad reputation. This actor.
Oh,
Lawrence
really?
Tierney. Even back in the 40s.
Is that why Tarantino wanted to cast him? Because he's just like me.
No. This guy is in and out of prison his whole life.
Holy shit! In real life?
In real life.
Oh, Jesus!
Because he was an alcoholic.
Was he just
method?
He would. What he went?
He would get in drunken. Well, he plays a good guy in this, but he gets in.
But he gets Biffy on the good guy.
But he got in drunken bar fights. He got in. I can actually pull it up because there's a whole thing on his thing where it's off-screen troubles. So drunken, disorderly jail terms on assaults on civilian and lawmen alike. Between 1944 and 1951, he was arrested over 12 times in Los Angeles for brawling, frequently for drunkenness.
I'm pretty sure for parts of this movie, they just followed him around and waited for him to get into a fight. Okay?
Including, in real life, he ripped a public telephone off a wall in a bar, hitting a waiter in the face with a sugar bowl for refusing to serve him any more drinks, and then attempting to choke a taxi driver.
What the fuck?
He was a pretty crazy
Holy shit.
person. In 1973, he was stabbed in a bar fight in the west side of Manhattan. He's just nuts. And so during the filming of Reservoir Dogs, so he wanted to get an old Hollywood veteran, and he was a big fan of Lawrence Tierney. And there was another movie that he did.
And they didn't have Wikipedia yet, so he didn't know about the whole history.
Well, I think he knew the reputation, and people were like kind of warning him about it. And he's like,
he might actually kill you. Okay?
You know what? I'm gonna do it. So. But the whole time, he couldn't remember his lines. Like, I hate this dialogue. It's so fucking convoluted. And blah, 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 blah. And he was, like, talking about Reservoir Dogs. And he's just...
Understandable. Reservoir Dogs is amazing. But I can also understand that you've never seen something like that. And you have to act in something like that.
And he was just like, what the fuck?
Also, if you see this movie, every line's fucking convoluted.
Yeah.
Okay?
But he hated acting with him. And then he would, like, walk away when the middle when Quentin Tarantino was talking. So one time, Quentin grabbed him by the arm. And he's like, don't fucking touch me. And he like pushed Quentin. And then Quentin fired him right on the set. But then they made up and they did it again. But they were holding each other back, I guess. But then there was a scene.
But this was like a 70-year-old dude, right?
Yeah, he was 70s. Here's another funny thing, too, is Michael Madsen, who plays Mr. Blonde in that movie. He was talking about that he went out drinking with Lawrence Tierney. And,
oh, God.
And
did they both decide to
No. He went to the bathroom and he disappeared for like 40 minutes. He didn't know where he was. And all of a sudden he heard all this loud commotion in the street. So he went out there and Lawrence Tierney is outside with his pants around his ankles just pointing at people. So it's a pretty interesting, fun story.
What the fuck?
So anyways...
That's insanity.
So San Quentin, I wish the movie was as interesting as the story of the movie. Yeah.
You're right.
It's not the worst film I've ever seen. No. It's not a bad movie.
The weirdest thing about this movie is the first thing you see is this like actual warden who's very obviously reading from cue cards.
Absolutely.
Boy, can you see his eyes back and forth like a fucking typewriter.
Yeah, so he's talking about like, so this is a real thing, real people.
Yeah, he's like, I want to talk about how great this system in this movie is. The system where it's all about rehabilitating criminals and stuff. Then don't forget though, in this movie, one of the guys uses that system to then escape and murder numerous people. And I'm like, I think anybody who saw this movie with that opening would think, This is anti that system.
Yeah,
okay?
Absolutely.
But they talk about it.
Yeah,
and
it's
the whole
weird.
They act like this is an amazing system.
So,
and I'm like, you watched the wrong movie. Okay?
So in San Quentin prison, there's like this weird kind of like union thing or whatever that they have. Do you have the name of it?
Prisoner Welfare League?
Yeah. It's the league.
Okay.
And so what it is, it's instead of like solitary confinement and stuff, the prisoners take care of the problems themselves.
Yes,
that's the whole
that's
thing.
what it's supposed to be.
And
now, granted, if you say that, it sounds like a lot of prison lynchings. Okay? But no, in the movie, it's literally just people trying to hold each other back. Is what they're trying to say it is.
Is what it is.
But no, when they describe it as prisoners,
They
have to fix it themselves. And I'm like, they're not known for fixing stuff.
So
okay?
Lawrence Tierney plays Jim Rowland, and he is a war vet that's coming back from overseas, and the warden is has a good bond with Jim, and is like, hey, they're gonna do this piece on the union or this thing. So I want you to be an example, and then we'll take this other guy who's really been good, Nick Taylor, and Lawrence Tierney's like, Nick Taylor, he's he's a bad guy. Are you sure that he's rehabilitated?
But then they're saying you have to cut him some slack. Yep. Because you're also a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And by the way, also a piece of shit. Also, basically goes on a fucking rampage trying to find this guy.
Like, so anyways, what happens is they go with Nick Taylor, the bad guy, and Jim Rowland, the good guy. They're both in there, and then all of a sudden, they're driving a car. They're on the way to the press thing, and then a car comes and pretty much tells them to pull over, and the warden gets shot, but he doesn't get killed, and Nick gets away. And there's another inmate, a young inmate that gets shot and killed.
I wonder if they didn't kill the warden because there was another warden who actually advocated for this film. And I'm like, please don't kill me in your movie.
Well, anyways, so now Nick Taylor is gone. And now Lawrence Tierney is like taking it into his own hands that he's going to go and track this guy down.
Yes. It kind of turns into sort of a detective movie.
A little bit. Yeah.
It's called San Quentin.
It has a little...
I think a grand total of 5 minutes of the movie actually take place anywhere in San Quentin.
If that.
And I'm like, why is it called this?
It does have a film noir type feel to the movie, for sure. And also, in a small role, Raymond Burr.
Yeah,
he was pretty good in the movie, actually.
He was pretty good.
But he plays one of Nick Taylor's kind of henchmen or whatever.
He's almost unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Right now.
He's pretty good. This was a few, because he was in Rear Window, so this is like 8 years before that.
But he looks like what I think of him in Rear Window.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In this, he doesn't look anything like
No, he doesn't.
Like.
So,
but in Rear Window, he just looks like Perry Mason.
So pretty much, that's pretty much the gist of the film. And then there's a big showdown at the end between Lawrence Tierney and Nick Taylor. I like 50% of this movie, and the other 50% I don't like, because I actually like Lawrence Tierney in the movie. He's got the stoic tough guy thing, and I love the way he just has that voice. I think he's a good leading man. I don't know if I would have picked this movie to put him in. I think the script is not very good. The dialogue is okay.
Well, here's the thing.
The energy is very low in the film during the scenes that don't have action in it.
It is, and there really isn't.
There's a lot of killing in the movie.
There's a lot of killing, but a lot of it isn't what I would call action.
No.
It's literally he just shows up and just shoots a guy. And
that's
the end of that action.
Right.
Okay. Bang. Okay. Well, I guess that gunfight's over.
And then they have some of the car chases and stuff. I will say this: the final confrontation between Lawrence Tierney and Nick Taylor was pretty fucking good.
It was good.
Like
that's the whole thing. As much as I'm ripping on this movie, I actually think it's a better movie without that beginning.
Yeah.
It actually makes a coherent story.
Yeah.
But then there's this thing in the back of your head, and I'm like, who made this movie and who put that beginning in the
movie? Right.
Because those do not match.
No, they don't. Absolutely not. But like, there's because they pretty much have a fist fight scene because they're out of bullets, and then Nick Taylor just jumps on Lawrence Tierney, and Lawrence Tierney gets a shit kicked out of him. But then he finally gets back up, and
I'm
he
pretty sure Lawrence
punches
Tierney
him.
knows how to get the shit kicked out of him, but also still be able to fight. Okay?
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure he's had the shit kicked out of him on numerous.
But he was like, I mean, obviously, since he's been to jail many times for brawling. He looks like he knows how to throw a punch. I wonder if they actually hit someone.
What were the years again for his when he started getting arrested?
It was like 44. So
it was a little before this. So he was just like training for this movie for a couple of years. I'm going to be this horrible punk. But was he a vet?
Was off-screen trouble? I don't know if he was a vet in real life. That's a good question. But it was, it looks like 44 through 51 where you got arrested 12 times.
That's 12 more times than I've been arrested.
So, Yeah, that action scene I think is really fun and really good, and it's a couple minutes long. I think it's a really good fist fight.
Bad movie. It's actually a fun little, and it's like I said, it's an hour and 7 minutes.
Well, that's what I think. I think 50% of it is neat and has some good film noir touches, but then there's another part of it where it's just boring and slow.
So boring.
So
it's when, and I'm literally going like, I know for a fact they're basically just killing time until the next cool thing happens. But goddamn, is it fucking?
And I could probably forgive it if it was like 100 minutes, but it's 66 minutes. It should be zippy.
It should be
zippy, and it's not
especially
zippy.
Since actually there is weirdly a lot that happens in this movie.
Yeah.
But why does it feel like it takes 6 hours for it to happen when in actuality it happens in like one lunch break? Okay?
Yeah. So I'm at a 2 on it.
2?
I'm at a 2.
Because
it's 50-50 for me.
I'm considering a 1.5.
Yeah, it's 50-50 for me because I like half of it. I like Lawrence Tierney.
The only reason I'm really giving it a 2 is I find it amusing that beginning, because watching that guy read it, those obvious things was really funny. And then the movie starts, and like 10 minutes in the movie, I'm like, this is this system? This is terrible.
Right.
That guy has already killed like 3 people. What the fuck? Just leave him in prison. Okay.
Henry V.
Henry V.
Oh boy. So
okay, I'm gonna give you a warning about my Henry V.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a weird review.
Okay. So it might be weird for me too. So Henry V. My experience with Shakespeare. So I've actually never read Shakespeare stuff.
I'm sure I did in high school.
I was supposed to, I think, but I don't think I did.
I had learned to read by the time I got to high school.
I might have seen a couple high school plays. I think my high school did Midsummer Night's Dream and maybe Romeo and Juliet. But I know I've seen Midsummer Night's Dream.
I honestly don't think I've ever seen a live one.
That's the only live one I've seen.
And the other ones I've seen, other than this one, that movie are, like I said earlier, just the ones that are, they took Shakespeare, but then they made a movie.
Oh, like Romeo and Juliet, the Baz Luhrmann one with Leo?
No, I haven't seen that one. It doesn't look good to me.
Oh, really? I liked it when it came out.
My problem with Romeo and Juliet is everybody talked about how it's this ultimate romance, and I'm like, it's not what that fucking story's about.
No.
Those punk kids are morons who kill themselves. Okay? Romeo at the beginning of the movie has a different girlfriend, and a week later he kills himself because of some other woman. That's just moron. Okay?
So I've seen a few. So one of my favorites is Titus. It's a really good Anthony Hopkins, but that's another one where
I believe that
it's
would
in
be
different
good.
time periods.
Yeah.
I've seen Joss Whedon's version of Much Ado About Nothing, which is a black and white modern take on it. That one's really good. I've seen.
I've heard good things about that one.
Yeah.
I've heard about a good Hamlet out there too.
I've actually seen Laurence Olivier's Hamlet, which I really liked.
Oh, okay.
That's really good.
Okay.
So I actually
I feel like we're building up to you not liking this movie very much.
Well, I don't know yet. So I've seen 1971's Roman Polanski did Macbeth in 71. That was really good.
Weird.
Yeah, so I've probably seen maybe a dozen or so Shakespeare films.
Okay, did Roman Polanski say Macbeth while he was making that, and that's why the rest of his life turned out the way it is?
I don't know. But and that
wait, no, this is after his wife got
murdered.
Yeah,
it was me. He made that afterwards.
So I guess never mind. He didn't cross that curse.
So I really like the idea of Shakespeare, and it's like I don't pretend to understand everything all the time.
Well, that's my problem with this movie.
Yeah.
Is mostly, this movie is fucking phenomenally gorgeous.
Oh,
this is one of the most beautiful movies I've ever fucking seen.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened to the audio in this movie, but I couldn't fucking understand a word anybody was saying. Okay? And it's Shakespeare, so if you can't understand him, you are fucked.
Yeah.
Because 90% of this movie is just people standing there talking to you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And then I'm like, at least it's really pretty.
Yeah,
the opening shot of this is a miniature of the entirety of medieval London, and it has got to be the most fantastically huge miniature I've ever fucking seen.
Yeah, that's a miniature.
It's a miniature.
Yeah.
But it's like, that thing has got to be the size of my fucking high school.
It was.
It's so fucking huge.
I would love to see like how that actually looked in real life on the set. Yeah. So it opens up with this panorama of London in the 1600s because the movie of Henry V actually takes place in the 1400s. The story does.
Yeah.
But the movie opens in the 1600s where they're actually
It's a
putting on the play.
Yeah,
they're putting on the play of Henry V.
Which when that started, I'm like, is this just a film of the play?
Yeah.
But then it takes a half hour, and then no, it isn't.
So it's about
but
40.
It also kind of is.
Well, 40 minutes into the movie, the chorus, which is one guy, and he's just like, okay, I want you to imagine and he kind of brings you into the backdrop, and then boom, we're actually on
Yeah.
an actual set of like the thing.
Fantastic set.
Yeah. So it's now we're not in the theater anymore, and the rest of the movie's in the theater, and then it comes back, and then it ends with them putting on the play.
Yep.
But what was really interesting when they're putting on the play too is that about 25 minutes into the play, it starts raining.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was like raining in the play, so they had to deal with the rain, which was really cool.
Is that real? Is that a thing that happened while they were filming? No, because
no.
it's got to be done in multiple takes.
That was probably something that happened back then, so that's why they did that.
Because
that was all on a set anyways.
This was definitely... Well, it's like Shakespeare in the Park. If you got there and then it started raining, you're just watching Shakespeare in the rain now.
Yeah.
Unless there's lightning and then you
that was
home.
really... No, I thought that was a really neat thing that they
cool.
did in the movie.
Like I said, it's hard for me to review this movie. When we watched it, okay?
Yeah.
I don't know if there was just audio issues that day. And then when we came back, and I'm like, I'm going to look up other upper copies, and I'm like, these all sound fucking terrible. I don't know if they just recorded them all on set and they had shitty microphones.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't have a problem with it. So,
I couldn't fucking understand anybody, anything. And it's also Shakespeare, which means I might have a problem anyway.
Yeah,
but I've seen other stuff, and I'm like, I can at least understand what they're saying.
Yep.
I just have to, so you might have to concentrate to figure out what the fuck they mean.
Right.
But in this, I can't concentrate because I don't know what the fuck they even said.
So, Laurence Olivier, he directed the movie as well, and he plays Henry V, which is funny because he's almost like a supporting character in his own movie because there's like 20-minute chunks where he's not in this movie.
And also he's not in the play part. He
is. That's him.
Is it him? Okay.
Yeah.
But he doesn't look. He feels different because that's a play.
They had a
but
different
when they go to
makeup.
when they go to like the actual times, everybody looks fucking amazing.
Yeah.
The armor and stuff are all so fucking elaborate.
Yep.
And I'm like, holy shit!
Yeah, it's really cool.
The colors in this movie are
they
phenomenal.
shot this in the 3-strip Technicolor. And it looks really good.
It's really good.
So the story, if you don't know Henry V, and which I don't really understand. I had to look it up.
We're American. We don't need to know anything about that British
anyways,
bullshit.
No. But it wants to take over France. So he kind of goes to France and lets them know hey, I kind of want to.
Remember when we watched Three Musketeers? Yeah. This is just the English version of Three Musketeers.
So he wants to take over the France, and then France is just the guy France, he sends him a bunch of tennis balls and says you're a kid, you can't do anything. Yeah. So he's upset about that. So they go and well, we're going to take it over. So they set up. He brings the army over there, and then they're going to have this big battle, and they do, and then they win the battle. And then he woos Princess Catherine, who's was it a daughter of the French king or a cousin of the French king?
Yeah, that's another thing.
Sure.
Even though I knew what was happening, because I'm I'm just gonna cheat and read. Okay?
Yeah.
It just sort of happens near the end. It's now we're gonna talk, and then she seems smitten, and I'm like, he murdered numerous people of your friends.
Absolutely.
Why do you seem smitten? This story seems odd to me. Okay, but then again, any story, all the real life stories from that time, all sound like. You people are morons. Okay?
So I've liked a lot of Shakespeare plays. So I really like. I like Romeo and Juliet play. I like Midsummer Night's Dream. Like the actual stories. I think the problem that I had with this movie. So like you said, beautiful direction. The acting is very good. Laurence Olivier is pretty great in the movie.
Yeah, he is what you think of when you think of a Shakespearean actor. What he's acting is exactly what you think in your head.
Now, the problem that I had with the movie, I didn't really like Henry. Why do I care?
Yeah.
We should like this king that's trying to take over France? You're kind of being an asshole.
He seems like an asshole the whole time. And at the end, she's smitten, and you're supposed to think, oh, they're going to get together. And I'm like, why would I want them to get together?
Yeah.
What's going on?
I didn't, Is
that because we're American and we're I'd be more on the France side anyway.
So in other Shakespeare, I'm invested in the plot. I care what happens. This movie, I didn't care about anything that was happening in the film, even though while I was watching the movie, I was enjoying the stuff that was happening. I was enjoying the performances. I was enjoying the filmmaking. I'm enjoying, and I even even though they were kind of weird.
One extensive action sequence.
Oh, it was very good.
And it's fucking mind-blowing.
Well, and then scene.
But also, what they're doing, I'm like, am I supposed to like what they're doing?
Right.
They're real pieces of shit.
But I did like the scene when there's that one, he has that big showdown with the guy, and he just he takes that one guy brings out his mace, and he's about to hit Henry with it, and Henry just goes boop and just hits him right in the face and knocks the guy flat down, and that was pretty awesome. That was awesome.
That's the whole thing. That's my problem with my way I'm going to rate this movie is it's gorgeous. I think it's actually fantastically well made.
Absolutely.
I hate this movie.
I don't hate it at all. I just wasn't invested in the film. And so for me, it's I mean, we'll still talk about it, but I'm giving it a 2.5.
I'm going to give it a 2.
Okay.
Mostly because as much as, and I feel like it must just be me, because I couldn't understand.
Okay.
And I'm like, we're in a fucking theater. I can't just back up. I can't turn on subtitles.
Yeah.
I want to just turn on subtitles.
Yeah.
If subtitles were there, I could just fucking read it. Okay?
So, but yeah, I liked, and then there's some weird characters that I almost feel like didn't need to belong in the movie because they had these 3 guys, the Corporal Nymph, Baroff, and Pistol. They were kind of the weird eccentric characters that just showed up. Were part.
Which, I mean, Shakespearean stuff does that, I think.
You're right,
you have to have your fun characters who are there to try to pull away from the dark realism that's going on in the other.
But every once in a while, I'm like, who's that character again? I don't remember who that is.
I think that was another thing. When it changes from play to movie,
actually, I kind of like the play stuff better. Like in the beginning,
but also I'm like, which character's which now?
Yeah.
Because they don't look very similar.
I do really like.
They're in shitty play outfits, and now they're in fantastic.
I do like the introduction of Laurence Olivier's character because the first scene you have the 2 the archbishops talking to each other about Henry taking over and stuff, and then they go inside, like behind the scenes, they go backstage, and then the camera goes backstage, and then you see all these other people like putting on makeup and costumes, and then you see Laurence Olivier walk in the frame as he's ready to go out, and then he walks out onto stage and starts performing. So that's the first time you see him. I thought that was great.
I kind of just sort of assume that's what a Laurence Olivier was when he was going to act.
Yeah.
You're literally watching behind the scenes.
That was cool.
Okay?
I really liked that approach. And that was actually my favorite stuff in the movie was all the stuff in the theater.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that stuff was awesome.
I think I agree, actually. Yeah. I think that stuff I could watch, and because weirdly, in that kind of situation, they actually kind of have to explain the action and stuff. Even though I think the action was really well done, I think all the rest of the stuff that was in the real world version was harder to follow.
It was.
It was like, why? Just go back to the play. The play literally just tells me what to know.
Right. So but I do feel like that if you like this, that if you're actually a fan of Henry V,
yes, I think
you will love this movie.
This is probably the best version of Henry V.
You will love. So I heard that the 1989 Kenneth Branagh Henry V is very good.
Oh, okay.
He was nominated for Best Director for that movie.
He knows how to fucking make movies.
And he was nominated for Best Actor, I think, but I know he was nominated for Director for it.
He knows how to make movies.
He does.
He's a fucking acting
and that was
guy
his first.
himself.
That was his first movie.
I think I watched the trailer for that, actually, if I remember. He is...
Yeah, he's great.
He's more movie acting in that.
Yeah.
In this, even when they're in the movie, it's still stage acting for most of it. Okay?
But that's kind of what it was like in the 40s anyway.
Yeah,
kind of 1940s acting. But I feel like, if you like Shakespeare and actually like the actual story of Henry V, and I think that was my problem. I just don't think I like the story. I just don't think I like the story of Henry V.
That definitely gets to the end, and I'm like, am I supposed to like what's happening? I think he's literally... been a horrible monster to the entire France, and now we're supposed to be like happy that he now controls France.
But I like the story of Midsummer Night's Dream. I like the story of Romeo and Juliet. I like the story of the Twelfth Night. I like And this, I just don't think I like the story, so that's why I'm going to give it a 2.5. It's really well done, and if you like the actual play of Henry V, absolutely watch this because it's mind-blowing.
People getting pulled into this and going, holy shit, this is the most fucking phenomenal thing I've ever seen.
It's really good.
But I think subtitles would help.
Yeah, especially if you're not accustomed to Shakespeare.
Yeah, I think that was my problem.
So that's us revealing ourselves being we're unsophisticated fuckers.
No, we're modern people. Okay, we're not 1600s doofuses. Okay.
Our next movie is Scarface. Oh, that's the wrong Scarface.
Oh, you doofus! You got the wrong Scarface. Although I do have to ask you, I don't think I've ever seen this Scarface. You're gonna have to tell me if there's any differences.
Wait a minute.
You've never... I mean, there's obviously a huge difference. This movie's fucking twice as long.
You've never seen the Brian De Palma?
I know everything about it.
Oh, wow.
Because it's hard to get past the memes of that Scarface. Okay?
So, actually... So this is the 32 version. Even though we're in 1947, they were showing an older movie.
Yeah, this is a pre-code.
Yeah. Pre-code movie.
And you can kind of tell.
Oh, absolutely.
Holy shit, do people die in this fucking movie?
Oh, yeah.
There's still no blood, but a lot of people die really what I would call gruesome deaths in this fucking movie.
I think so. No, actually, so Brian De Palma, so I've seen that Brian De Palma Scarface with Al Pacino, I don't know, 50 times maybe. Like
I can believe you.
It's one of my favorite movies. It's very good. So I was always wanting to see it, and I'm a big Howard Hawks fan. So Howard Hawks, And
so you had never seen this?
I've never seen it.
That's
I've
right.
always
You said you
wanted.
only had seen the
I've
one before.
always wanted to see it, and so I was really looking forward to it. The actor that plays Scarface is Paul Mooney, and Mooney, I don't know if it's Mooney or Mooney. He was a pretty prominent actor. I think he won 2 Oscars in the 30s.
I had heard of him, and I'm like, I assume I've seen him in
I don't
something?
think I've seen him in anything before. So,
Well, looking at him, I'm like, he is good.
So
I actually thought he was really good, as a matter of fact.
you did? Okay.
Did you not like him?
I am not sure yet.
Okay.
If I liked him or
He's
not.
kind of, maybe it's because he's very different than what I expected.
Yeah, I
Because
don't know.
in this, he is very much a Capone thing.
This is one of those movies that I
But he
almost...
is not. But his story does not match up to Capone really in any
No,
way. Okay?
I really actually feel like that I need to see this again to form a better opinion of it. But anyways, okay, so Scarface, it's in the 20s, Prohibition or whatever. Paul Mooney he's a guy that goes for work for this guy named Johnny Lovo. So he's kind of just starting off as a thug. The movie opens with a fantastic long take. And usually, I don't think of 1930s films having long takes.
This actually has a lot of cool camera
But
stuff.
that long take,
really
though,
good
how
shots.
it starts off outside, and you see like a guy sweeping the street or whatever, and it goes inside to this bar, and a guy's like doing some work in there, and it follows, and then it shows these guys talking to each other, then it follows one of the guys over to the phone booth. You see some guy come in and shoot him, and that's all in one take. It's like 2 or 3 minutes.
It's really
and
cool.
it was awesome.
And I'm
what
watching
a great
it, and I'm
first
like,
shot of the movie.
I
was
didn't know who
phenomenal.
anybody was.
Yeah.
But I'm
Right.
like, holy shit.
Yeah, it was really cool.
And here's the thing.
It grabbed me. It grabbed
At
me.
that point, somebody had just gotten killed, and I'm like, okay, that was cool. It was dark cool, you know what I mean? But I'm like, nobody's going to get shot for the next hour and a half. Oh, never mind. Wait 5 more minutes, more people get shot. Okay? More people get shot in this fucking movie.
Everybody gets shot in this movie. But yeah, so you find out it's Paul Mooney was doing it, and he's working for this gangster named Johnny. He is kind of has bigger aspirations. In fact, he likes Johnny's girlfriend.
Yeah.
And so then...
And she doesn't like him at all.
No.
He's got a big gruesome scar on his face.
He does. But anyway, so he is trying to kind of go up in the rankings, and he ends up kind of like taking over Johnny's position. And then there's another guy, gangster played by Boris Karloff.
Yeah.
He's in there, and he
kind of show up for a little bit. But
Right.
we're like, holy cow, I forgot Karloff was in
I
this.
also got to talk about Scarface's his right-hand man, which is
Oh,
George
that guy.
Raft.
That dude is-
George Raft is a
His
great
secretary
actor.
dude?
Yeah, well, he's the one that flips the coin.
Oh, that guy. Oh, yeah.
George Raft.
Which that is where that comes from.
That's exactly where
It's
that comes
100%.
from.
I watched that and I'm like, that's where the coin flipping meme
It's
comes
George.
from.
It's George.
That
Raft.
went on for the next fucking 70 years.
That is George Raft.
And it gets to a point where it's just a parody.
So,
and it's
it
in
is.
It's in cartoons and
Well,
shit.
he's even parodied himself, and so in the movie, there's a Billy Wilder movie, Some Like It Hot. And,
Oh, okay.
And he is the main bad guy in that movie.
And he
No. There's someone flipping a coin, and he grabs it from him and is like, learn a new trick.
God, that makes sense.
You know.
Seeing these movies is going to make me appreciate other things more.
Yeah. There's a kind of a thing going on.
He doesn't
with...
make it through the movie.
No.
Nobody makes it through this movie.
Well, Tony, who's Scarface,
the girlfriend makes it, I guess, doesn't she?
Yeah, but Tony is he is kind of obsessed with his sister.
Yeah,
and he's very protective of her.
Yeah.
And he sees her with other guys, and he flips out.
She's rather flirty.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
He doesn't like that. At all.
But George Raft is kind of makes googly eyes at each other, and then it ends up. Spoiler alert: they end up together.
Well, for about a half hour.
Yeah, and then
they get murdered by him.
Yep.
Well, he gets murdered by him. She gets murdered by the cops.
Yeah. Which is funny. So when I heard about this movie that it was a remake, the Brian Palma was a remake.
Does the remake start with a bunch of text that says crime's bad? Okay, don't go through this movie thinking that crime's amazing now. And I'm like, how can anybody think crime's amazing? Everybody's dead now. Okay.
What's interesting about this, so I always heard that it was loosely based off of the 1930s movie.
Okay.
I was surprised how many similarities there are in the film. The whole sister love triangle thing, with his friend, that's in there. That surprised me. Him going up into the ranks, taking over Johnny's business, that's in there.
That all made sense.
There was
the sister thing. I did not see that coming. I'm like, holy shit.
Well,
sister thing.
Well, as soon as they saw the sister thing, I knew where that was going because I saw the movie. Yeah.
Heathen, and I haven't seen the other one.
Right.
Okay?
So I was kind of really surprised by that. So there's a lot of great scenes in the movie. Like there's some great shootouts in the movie, and when they first talk about the machine guns, when you first discover
it's like a super powered gun.
You're like, wow, this is great. Let's
They've got like portable machine guns.
Yeah.
Oh my god, and it's hilarious because one of the guys just says, "I'll go get one for you." and he just runs out in the middle of a gunfight, randomly shooting, kills a guy, picks up the guy's gun, comes back inside, and I'm like, that worked?
That was pretty funny.
That worked?
I like
that. You
that.
should have been shot so many times. They have fucking machine guns, okay?
Now, my thing that I'm struggling with the movie is, and I think you were talking about that you liked him. I'm not sure what I think of Paul Muni's performance, because his portrayal, and now he's an all-in actor. I think he's one of those actors that he makes a choice and he's like, I'm going to go for it.
Okay.
He kind of portrays Scarface like a universal monster, like a Frankenstein or a Dracula, because he's so over the top, and he just feels... It feels so showy.
I feel like he's portraying it like a guy who has like bipolar or something.
Okay.
Because he can just turn on a dime.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have no idea if he's your friend now and if he's going to shoot you at 5 minutes. Okay.
Right.
And he's going to do that. And in actuality, I don't know. It made sense to me.
He was very
He's
unpredictable.
supposed to be a scary monster.
Very unpredictable.
And he's very scary monster.
Right, and so that's why I wasn't sure. Like, I need to watch it again to see if I actually like his performance. Because I'm just like, I don't know. Because I like Howard Hawks' direction a lot, but I wasn't sure if I was liking Paul Muni's performance. But then I was also thinking of Al Pacino's performance, who's also super over the top.
Oh, yeah, he's never, like, subdued.
Super crazy. Yeah. So I don't know
Super
what
Cuban.
I think. So I'm at a 2.5 on it.
This movie is about Italian Americans.
Yes.
Well, Scarface is about like Cuban Americans.
It is. It is.
In this, there's a few of the people who literally just sound like Mario showed up. Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like,
yeah.
I mean, it's hard to laugh. It's hard not to laugh, but it's also like, I can't like not accept it. It's
right.
It's way before any of that shit. But it is funny. Actually, I'm going to give this movie 3 stars.
Really?
Yeah.
So I'm at a 2.5 just because, but I think if I watch it again, knowing Paul Muni's performance, I think I can get into it. But it was so hammy and over the top that at times I'm just like, I don't know what you're doing. Like, it was almost too much for me. But
yeah, maybe that's why I liked it. I want it to be too much. He's supposed to be terrifying.
And maybe that's why if I watch it again, I'll enjoy it.
It's more. It feels more like if I was actually to meet Al Capone, he might seem nice, but also I'm going to sit there going, he might just decide to have me killed at any moment because I've been known to say random shit that gets you killed. Okay.
Our next movie is Suddenly It's Spring. Now, this is the one I knew nothing about.
Apparently, there's a Frank Sinatra song, Suddenly It's Spring. I haven't listened to it yet.
Does that have anything to do with this?
When I did some searching, I found a song that was by Frank Sinatra.
Huh. There's a radio adaptation. Oh.
About World War II veterans.
Oh, yeah. Very different in tone.
Oh, very different in tone. Very different in tone.
So this one stars Paulette Goddard, and she actually has first billing. Fred McMurray.
She was the bigger star. Fred McMurray never got huge. He turned into a big TV star.
Yeah. And Disney, doing his Disney stuff.
Yeah, but a Disney star is different than huge star.
Yeah.
Okay?
So
at least back then. Now it'd be a huge star.
Paulette Goddard. So I know her from, she was in a lot of comedy. So she was in Modern Times and Great Dictator, 2 Charlie Chaplin films. Oh, really? Yeah. And she was also in 2 Bob Hope films I saw, The Cat and the Canary and The Ghost Breakers. She was also married at one point, I don't know when, but she was married to Burgess Meredith. Good job, Burgess.
Wowzers. Good job, Burgess. Solid. Going by, especially, just look at the poster. You're going to go like, solid job, Burgess.
And you know what? Okay? No, yeah, and she's, and what's great about it, too, because, a lot of times in Hollywood, and back then and stuff, they would have these really young actresses and stuff. She's like 36.
No, yeah, she
35,
actually,
36,
I could tell watching
37.
I'm like, actually, I think she is the correct age.
Yeah,
She's
absolutely.
not 22 playing 36. She's like 36 playing 36.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, no, it was interesting. So yeah, it's set right after World War II. Paula Goddard she plays, and Fred McMurray, they play a husband and wife.
They're lawyers.
They're lawyers. They were about to get a divorce before the war.
Yeah, it was like her idea, it seemed like.
Yep. And so they kind of separated, but then the war happened, so they never got to do it. While she was away and he came back, he kind of has been dating this girl. He's waiting for his wife to come back so he can have her sign the divorce papers. He's really excited about it.
He's really excited.
Yeah.
Well, he's excited, but also nervous as fuck to like bring it up with her. Because he's afraid of her or something? It's a little bit weird.
So he brings it up, and but she was kind of actually really excited to see him because she hasn't seen him in a while.
Yeah, she's like changed her mind about this divorce thing, essentially.
Right, and you find out later on, you don't really know at first, but you're like, oh, I think she just wants to see where it goes. I don't think she's ready to be like, hey, let's get back together.
She keeps stalling on signing the papers, essentially.
Right.
He's like, I got the papers here. She's like,
right.
Let's change the subject.
Yeah. So anyway, so Fred, he's trying to get her to change the papers, but then he also has this really skeevy friend. What was this?
That guy is, he's like a client?
He's his client, yeah. Jack Lindsay.
He shows
played,
up,
McDonald McCary, sorry.
The way he treats her, I really hope they don't get together. Because goddamn is this guy a piece of shit.
Right.
And I'm like, and at the time I'm like, wasn't sure if I was supposed to think he's a piece of shit.
Right.
Or if that's just what I think men are like.
Right.
Spoiler, he doesn't end up with her. And I think he's supposed to be a piece of shit in this movie. And I'm like, good.
Right. Yeah, no, I think so,
because he is a piece of slimy garbage.
He is really bad in this movie. Yeah.
But he's actually really good at being bad.
He is.
The actor is really good in the movie.
Right, it's McDonald McCary. Yeah. No, I think he's really good in the movie. Essentially, he's like kind of chasing her around, and she's like, oh, nope, I have to go over to Detroit. And so he follows her to Detroit, trying to get her to sign. All the meantime, his friend is trying to get in her pants, trying to like, yeah. And his wife is like going, come on, you got to get this signed. And it goes back and forth, but then...
It's weird. He starts hitting on her, okay?
Yeah.
He then literally finds out she's his lawyer's wife.
Yes.
And that slows him down for about a minute, okay? And then he goes right back in.
Right. Doesn't slow him down a whole lot. No.
It does not.
But then Fred McMurray's like, he's trying to find a way. He's like, I think she wants to be... he's kind of figuring out that she wants to be with him. So now he's just like, and she's trying really hard to seduce him now by wearing sexy lingerie in the train.
Which is in the poster.
Yeah.
And it works.
Oh, yeah.
On me, it works.
Yeah. But anyways, he's just like, his friend is like, you know what? You just got to act like a big fucking jerk.
Yeah.
To do that.
He's just like, then she'll dump you.
So then Fred McMurray comes in and he acts like a big, like, loudmouth. He's like, hey, and smoking a cigar and all that stuff.
But it isn't like, here's the thing. It kind of sounds like what we're saying is how you get the woman is to be a jerk. No, in this, be a jerk because then she will break up with you. Because that's kind of what you want. You have another hot girlfriend.
And I wasn't sure if his wife...
His other hot girlfriend is a real bitch.
Yeah, but Paula Goddard... Now, she was... Because she made it like, oh, I actually like you being a jerk, but I don't think she did. I think she was just understanding.
Calling his bluff is what I would call it. Yeah.
Long story short, they end up together at the end.
Yes. And he uses the jerk thing to, like, at the end in a comedic way. Actually, weird stuff that made me happy at the end when she showed him what she learned in the war.
Oh, yeah. They keep on saying that throughout the movie, like, that she got good at sex or something.
I mean, in the movie, no, but... I think they're insinuating yes.
Yes.
I'm now willing to give blowjobs. That's basically what it was.
That was actually a really funny scene. You know what? This movie surprised me. I liked it.
I liked it.
I liked it.
Mostly because it didn't do the shit where I expected it to go.
No, I think Paula Goddard is really great in the movie. She's a fantastic lead. She carries the movie. Yeah, She's wonderful in the film. Fred McMurray is really good in the movie. He is. And he is good through the whole movie pretty much.
He is good throughout the whole movie. And
even when he does his jerk thing, it's hilarious.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
He's really good at it. And it's also weird how that he keeps it up at good, even though she is dawning on her that this is all bullshit.
Yeah.
Because she's known him for fucking years. She knows this isn't him, okay?
I think it's a really fun screwball comedy with really good dialogue. I think the two performances from the leads are fantastic. Again, McDonald McCary as the jerk as Jack Lindsay. He was an asshole, and he's really funny.
This is
in
almost
the movie.
a hidden gem.
Yeah, I would say it's a mild hidden gem.
It's a mild hidden gem.
I think it's really good
because we did not know this.
This is a movie,
and I watched it, and I'm like, God, that's like my second favorite movie in this episode.
You can't find it on DVD or Blu-ray.
No.
There's a crappy copy on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's
really shitty copy.
You cannot find this anywhere, and I think it needs to come back in some kind of form.
I thought I saw a Blu-ray.
I don't. Okay, that would be awesome. Or unless it's.
Oh, that's right. All you got to do is tell you about it, and you'll buy it. And then I can watch
yeah. But no, I think it's one of those movies that shouldn't be forgotten about. It's a Paramount Pictures. It's a largely forgotten film, and I thought it was a pleasant surprise.
It's pleasant. It's unique. The plot is something I had never ever seen before.
No.
The plot is so different. I'm incorrect. Amazon has shit. On
No. So, but
except for now, there's a Glenn Miller song called "Suddenly."
Oh, jeez.
There's a lot of these.
I think
songs called.
I thought it was a pleasant surprise. It's not going to change any lives or anything like that. It's not going to break any records.
No.
It didn't really win any awards. But
And
I think it's good.
I would almost suggest you can watch it on YouTube, but YouTube copy sucks.
It does suck.
But the fact that it exists means somebody has a fucking copy of this movie. And actually watching that, I'm like, it doesn't actually look bad. It's just the audio's out of sync.
Yeah.
And it sounds like shit.
Yeah, so I'm going to give it a 3.
I'm going to give it a solid 3.
Yay!
I actually was like...
Yeah, I like this a lot.
At the movie, I'm like... I was somewhat like... As it was going, I'm like... I hope I like this movie, but it could really ruin the movie at the end. And it does not. It's a comedy thing at the end.
Yeah.
You can't take it too seriously.
The scene, the scenes when she was trying to seduce him, though, is so funny. It's so funny.
There's a lot of shit in this that's actually really funny.
It cracks me up. And
it's actually on the edge. Some of it.
Some of it is.
Some of it is insinuating things. It doesn't tell you, but I'm like, I know what you mean.
And I like all the train stuff, too. Like, he gets off on the train, and then he runs back, and the porter helps him back up. And
the train shit was great.
This was a really fun movie.
Because that was part of her stalling. She's like, oh, I have to go on a trip now.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, fuck, now I got to follow her.
And, Paul Goddard is great. Frederick McMurray, really good performance. So, our last movie is Notorious. So Alfred Hitchcock never seen this movie. So my history with this film, even though I haven't seen it, I was in film school. So back in '95, I was watching this. We watched this in film school. I'm a night owl. My film school, this film class in particular, started at 7 o'clock in the morning. I slept through this movie.
7 o'clock in the morning isn't a real time. Austin.
Right.
That's bullshit. That's a fake time. That's only designed for sleeping.
I did not. I was not awake for this.
So you kind of had seen it. You had slept. It had been on in the room you're in.
I was probably asleep by minute 2. Like I don't remember even anything.
Well, I feel bad because it's a pretty fun, good movie.
So, oh god. Yeah.
It's another one where the plot is a different thing than I have ever seen before.
So, yes. Well, it starts with Ingrid Bergman's father is convicted of a Nazi spy. So his father is a Nazi spy, and
she's sad about it, but also she was not on his side.
No, absolutely
not. Her dad's been killed.
Yes,
put to death for crying out loud.
Yeah. No,
for treason.
Right. So he gets put away, and then so she goes to Rio, and she doesn't go to Rio. She's at her house, and then it seems like she's one of those people that just gives parties and go outs with random guys.
Yeah.
And
she's like crying because her father had literally just died.
So at this party is this other guy, Cary Grant, who's pretty handsome.
Handsome McHandsome face.
Yep. It's Devlin. He plays Devlin, who ends up being an agent, a U.S. agent. He is there to recruit her he doesn't really know what yet.
They have evidence, and they are positive she was not on her father's side.
Yes. So they're
and for some of this movie, I'm like, is this some long play? It doesn't take very long. You're like, nope.
They want to use.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I know. They want to use some kind of. Her in some kind of way to maybe spy on someone they don't really know yet.
Recruit her into into the spy gang.
So while they're waiting for their assignment in Rio, Alicia and Devlin end up falling in love. And he's trying not to do it. It's like she's like, you won't say it, and he's like, I don't need to. Actions speak louder than words, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then he finds out that there is a guy named Sebastian who was a friend of her father's who did have a thing for Ingrid Bergman's character, which I should probably know. It's Alicia Huberman. She remembers who this guy is, and what the Cary Grant's superiors want her to go and kind of play up and kind of like almost fall in love with him and kind of start dating him and wooing him.
Yes.
So she can find out information.
They found out. They have reason to suspect, because she knew him years ago, that he had a crush on her. Yeah. Because he's straight. Okay?
Yeah. So she agrees to do it, but Devlin is kind of like, I don't. He doesn't say he doesn't want her to do it, but he doesn't want her to do it.
Yeah.
But he's still like, what? But he's kind of above, like begging her, like, don't do it, please don't do it. He sees if she's going to take it, and then he kind of resents her for it a little bit.
Yeah.
So what happens is...
part of it is he knows if she does this, she has to go all in on this.
Absolutely.
She literally marries the guy.
Yeah. So Sebastian is played by Claude Rains, who is the Invisible Man.
Yeah.
But he's also a famous character in Casablanca.
He's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, Claude Rains he was nominated for this film. Supporting actor.
Good reason.
Yeah.
He's fucking
he lost to Harold, which is understandable.
I'm going to tell you, literally any other year I'd be mad about it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Claudia Rains is fantastic in the film. Yeah, she ends up marrying him, but then you find out that they're the MacGuffin of the film, because there's always a MacGuffin in Hitchcock films.
Yeah.
And that's the uranium or whatever that's hidden in.
Well,
hidden in the wine.
All you know is there's some type of stuff in the wine bottle.
In the wine bottles.
You find out eventually it's uranium. So I'm like, oh, so they're all dead. Okay, they're all dead from radiation.
So she's gonna find
because they live in a house.
So she's trying to find that out, but so she invites Devlin over for the key, and Devlin was with her when she met Sebastian. So Sebastian knows who that is. Like, oh, that's just some American I met on the plane or whatever.
He's just the most handsome guy you've ever seen, but he's just my friend.
He's just my friend. Even though he wants to bang me, I don't want to bang him. It's pretty much.
I mean, obviously I do. Okay.
Yeah.
I probably have. Okay.
Right. So she ends up. So he's pretty jealous of it, but he's trying to understand and even though he's jealous, he's like, you know what?
Actually, although he's literally a fucking Nazi.
Yeah.
He's not a bad husband.
No, I don't think so.
Except for the part where eventually he tries to murder her. Okay. Yeah. But until then, he seems like he's an okay guy.
Yeah. Okay? So but anyways, they have a dinner party, and that's when they're gonna try to sneak Cary Grant into the wine cellar, and that is when
that whole sequence is fucking
when she tries to get the key and she finally gets it and stuff. He comes down there, Claude Rains does, as they're both down there, and then he's like, all right, I'm gonna have to kiss you. So it looks like that you're cheating on me and stuff. And then so he's really,
because Nazis have never killed their wives for cheating on them.
No, never. So anyways, he finds that out, but then he discovers that he finally goes to the wine cellar because the key. First of all, he finds out the key's missing. Then he wakes up in the morning and the key is back on his keychain. Yeah. So he goes to the wine cellar. And
they did an okay job cleaning, but they didn't do a perfect job cleaning.
Nope. He found the stuff, and he's like, they know, and that's when he figures out that she's an agent. And then his mom, who's awesome in the movie, his mom's really good.
Oh, actually, probably my best supporting actress in this episode.
Me too.
Because, God damn it,
her name is Leopoldine Constantine.
Here's the thing. She is more terrifying than he ever is.
Oh, I think so, too. Like, as soon as you see her, I'm like, I already know that she's the one calling the fucking shots in this movie.
So scary.
But her the mom and Claude Rains, they start poisoning her with arsenic, I think. Slowly poisoning her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right, and then...
arsenic? We don't know what it is.
Yeah.
They don't really tell you. It just says poison.
Right.
Okay?
So then...
Because arsenic kills you a lot faster.
Right.
It's been like 2 weeks. I haven't seen her in a couple weeks. He goes there. She's still just dying, but not dead.
Right.
I mean, I think she might die in like 12 minutes.
Right. So, obviously, spoilers, but yeah, the end of the movie is him. He comes back to rescue her, and the way he rescues her is not by punching or shooting. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to carry her. I'm taking her out. What are you going to do about it?
Yep.
Because
it's one of the reasons this movie's so fucking good.
Because all the other guys, that all the Nazis are there having a meeting, and Claude Rains is like, if those guys knew that I married an agent, I'm dead.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't want them to know. Yeah. And so he's like, I will make a big scene.
Yeah, so he's like carrying her out, and he's like, you literally can't do shit.
Right.
Because if you even insinuate that that I can't do this because of who she is.
Claude Rains is like, take me with you.
It's like,
and he's like, nope.
Anything but leaving me here. And he goes, how about leave you here? Okay.
Yep. And then he walks into the house, and that's the end of the movie. Yeah. So that guy's dead.
The other bad guys come out of the house and look at him, and I'm like,
that guy's super dead.
Shit, that guy dies, and he doesn't die a happy death. Okay. This is my favorite of our Hitchcock movies.
So
this is not the best Hitchcock movie, but it's the favorite of the ones we've watched.
This is really good. So I'm going to call this a masterpiece, and this is going to be the first time on the episode.
4?
I'm giving it 4 stars.
Oh, Austin Kennedy with the 4-star movie.
Usually,
I'm also giving it 4 stars.
Usually, I don't give 4 stars to movies that I've only seen once.
Okay.
Usually, I have to see them multiple times because I have given 4 stars before on this.
Grabs you.
Oh my God, it
grabs you, and then like the last hour of this movie is so fucking tense.
What's so great about this movie is that there isn't one car chase. No gunshot. No one dies on screen.
That's what
and it's so suspenseful the whole time.
There's no action in this entire fucking movie. Remember when we watched Internal Affairs?
Yeah.
Which is a good suspense movie. Yeah. And then they throw an action thing.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need this fucking action. No. This movie is not an action movie.
No.
This movie is not an action movie. And at the end,
you're still on the edge of your seat. A
shittier version of this turns it into an action where he like gets in a shootout or some bullshit.
No, he just picks her up and walks her out
and says, I'm fucking mind fucking you by just fucking leaving, and you're fucking screwed. Your mom is gonna kill you later. Okay, that's what's gonna fucking happen. Okay,
Cary Grant, even though Ingrid Bergman, this is her movie. She's in almost every scene. She's phenomenal.
She's miles ahead of any actress in this episode.
Yep. Now Cary Grant,
I have to say these words.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
She said more with not words.
Absolutely.
I like how that made sense.
Yeah.
Totally inside joke.
I know what you
a
said.
Friend of mine, but it totally makes sense.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
I promised him I would say it.
She is phenomenal in the movie. Carries the whole movie. Now Cary Grant's very good, and it's different because it's a smaller role for him and less showy.
He's actually weirdly the male lead, but he's still miles behind her. Female lead.
I mean, I almost feel like Claude Rains is in it almost as much as Cary Grant.
Actually, I think he might be.
Yeah.
In it as much.
I mean, Claude Rains didn't show up till about half an hour, but
then he's in like the rest of the movie.
Right. But Cary Grant,
there's like a 20-minute movie.
I did like the opening.
There's no Cary Grant
in the opening because at first, he doesn't know if he likes her and stuff, and that scene when they're in the car. At first, I wasn't sure if I was like it, but I got a kick out of it when he's trying to pry her hands because she's driving drunk, and he's trying to get her hands off the wheel, and he karate chops her.
She was so drunk.
When he karate chops her hands, that cracked me up.
She was so drunk, and he was so like not caring for a little while,
and then he's
like, "Oh my god, wait, what's wrong with me? She's gonna get us all killed."
Yeah.
Because she's driving.
Well, then
like,
he
really
snaps
bad
her neck and makes her like he does this weird thing where he.
It was weird.
He goes and
it was weird.
He like.
But
gives
the
her
rest
like
of the movie
move.
is so fucking amazing. Okay?
No, I like that part actually. Hitchcock's direction in this, and what's so great about this movie is like compared to like something like Topaz, like a later film. That movie's so convoluted.
Well, Topaz is garbage.
Right.
I mean, it's not. Topaz is nowhere near the worst movie.
No.
But compared to this,
but
Topaz is
even
garbage.
Suspicion had a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
This is very simplistic, very simple plot. Just. You know what? We're going in here. You're going to infiltrate this.
You're a spy, and you might get caught.
Right.
That's the fucking plot of this movie.
Yeah.
Okay?
But that one scene though, when she gets the key, she brings it down, and you want to know that she has the key. So the camera starts. It's in the ballroom, and there's all the guests down there, and the main lobby of the entryway, and the camera pans down, does a crane shot down all the way to a close-up of her hand, seeing that she has the key in her hand.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, oh my god,
it's so good.
It's so fucking awesome.
It's so fucking good.
And then the scene when he's in the wine cellar and he's grabbing all the wine, I'm like, oh shit, and then boom, the wine glass crashes, and you're like, oh shit. And actually trying to clean that up.
When the wine bottle thing happens, I mostly just think this is happening so they get caught. But no, there's no fucking wine in there. No. And you're like, oh shit, that's right. All this wine bottle's dead. Now we're going to find what that is. Oh, it's full of rocks. Uranium just looks like rocks.
Yeah. And that part was great. And just, everything in the movie, I couldn't find anything wrong with it for me.
No, I'm going to say, this is just like when I said in any other episode, Claude Rains gets Best Supporting Actor. In any other episode of this gets Best Movie. The problem is, there's that first movie, which I literally wanted to see, and it's one of my favorite things, but this has turned into one of my favorite things.
It's so good. And
it's not a hidden gem, it's fucking Hitchcock. There's no such thing as a Hitchcock hidden gem.
So this is regarded as one of his best films.
Yeah.
It is. A lot of people there's
good.
Many people that call this his best movie. And that's why I really wanted to see this when I looked at the paper, like, well, we're watching that because...
Yeah, well, I'm glad we did.
A lot of my Film Geek friends have to give my Film Geek card away. He's like, you haven't seen Notorious? Fuck you, So it's like...
Well, now you've seen it.
I've seen it, and it is a masterpiece.
You should say, you haven't seen My Sister Eileen? Well, fuck off. Okay?
Like I said, if you're a Hitchcock fan, and especially like his more refined stuff, like Rear Window. If you're a fan of Rear Window, this is a really Notorious.
That's actually the
not like
closest
Psycho
one.
Or North by Northwest.
Rear Window is the closest one to this.
Exactly.
Because it's very simple.
Yep.
But it's tension all the way.
Yep.
This is actually a little more complex than Rear Window.
I think so.
Pretty much every movie's more complex than Rear Window.
Rear
Window. The plot of Rear Window is guy sees murder. And I just told you the plot. Okay, the entirety of the fucking
Rear
plot.
Window's my favorite Hitchcock movie. That's my favorite one.
I can believe you.
That's my favorite one. But Notorious.
I think it actually might be my favorite. Except for this has a chance.
This isn't my top 5 Hitchcock. It has to be.
God damn it! It's so fucking good.
I really liked it, and I'm glad you did too.
And that's actually, I'm glad we watched this because we've watched those other Hitchcocks, and I've kind of said, I don't know, they've kind of disappointed me because they're supposed to be Hitchcock, supposed to be the best things in the world, and none of them.
Well, I like To Catch
really
a Thief was
crushed me.
good. Catch a
That
Thief's
didn't
good.
blow me away like this.
No. This
was
one blows you away.
Oh, thank you. Finally, I understand.
This is why
Again,
Hitchcock is
because
Hitchcock.
I've seen Rear Window, and yes, Rear Window is fucking mind blowing.
It's
North
amazing,
by Northwest will change your fucking life.
Right.
Okay.
It's
Psycho
good.
is changed the entire cinema landscape.
Absolutely.
But this is on par with all three of those.
Okay? I agree. It's very good. So yeah, for me, so you already said best years of life. This is my favorite.
Oh no, I believe
Notorious.
Yeah, it's your first 4-star movie.
It's my first 4-star movie.
4-star they hadn't seen before.
That I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Correct.
That you didn't go into knowing was 4 stars. Okay?
Right. Now, best actor is going to be really hard for me.
Yeah.
You are probably going to go, huh? And it's because
Are you
it's
say
so...
Fred McMurray or something?
Fred McMurray.
Okay.
I'm giving Fred McMurray because, I mean, Cary Grant, yeah, I've seen that. Frederick March, he was fine. Laurence Olivier is doing his Shakespeare stuff.
Yeah.
But what Fred McMurray is doing, he's doing this quick-witted dialogue. And then when he breaks out into the loudmouth guy, he's doing something different. So I'm going to give it to Fred McMurray.
Because we saw the Can Mutiny, and that's a different Fred McMurray
yeah,
altogether.
yeah.
We have truly, between the two of us, found out Fred McMurray, a real good fucking actor who didn't get his dues.
Yeah.
Okay?
So I'm going to give it to Fred, but I don't know.
No, mine, God, it might be Cary.
Cary Grant?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, he's
because
really good.
That movie was so fucking good.
It's very good. Best actress is Ingrid Bergman.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
For Notorious.
Derp.
Best supporting actor. So I'm actually going to give it to Claude Rains.
I'm going to have to go the other way.
You have to go to Harold. No, not to demean
right,
Harold.
Though.
Not to
that's
demean
the
Harold.
whole thing, though. If any other year, Claude Rains, of course.
Yeah.
But then I watched the guy with no hands be the guy.
No,
I literally cried. I cried 50 fucking times.
He is great.
You can't beat that. Unless, of course, you're like putting salt in my eyes.
But Claude Rains is just so, like, he's
so
such
good.
a classy actor.
He's so good.
He's
He's
a class
classy,
actor.
and he actually also actively looks terrified. I wonder if Hitchcock told a secret to him or something to make him terrified.
You're going to die after the shot.
You're going to kill me. Remember all those horrible, I treat women as bad as I'm going to treat you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Best supporting actress is...
No, it's
the mom. It's Leopold
100%
Constantine
Good
in
God, she was
Notorious.
so fucking fantastic.
Yep, it's fantastic.
She
in the
crushes
film.
everybody. It's
so
fucking good.
Yeah, and any other episode would probably be Best Years of Her Life would be the best movie for me, but Notorious.
No, but I mean, here's the thing. I can't even shit you. Fucking Notorious. I had never seen it before, and I'm like, that blew me away.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a chance that if I had randomly seen Notorious back in the 90s instead of Best Years of Our Lives,
that would be the one you'd be talking about.
I might be the opposite because I'd seen that a bunch of times and go like, oh my God, it's fucking romantic. And then I cried a bunch of times and I'm like, but it's Notorious. I can't like shit on Notorious. But no, it's just literally giving it the higher one because of the history I have with it.
That makes sense to me.
And I miss my grandparents.
Well, that was a pretty good episode.
That was a really good episode.
That was pretty good.
You want to know why? Because this is the best podcast that's ever existed.
Yay! And then next week we are going to be going to May 7th, 1982. Sorry, July 7th. July 7th.
July 7th.
1982.
Now, I know that date.
Yeah.
I don't know. 82?
82.
No, because we're going to go to 83 later.
Should be fun.
I can't wait.
More 80s.
I
Yay.
can't wait to watch more movies.
All right. I'm your host, Austin Kennedy.
I'm Tim Kaiser, other guy.
We'll see you next time.
Good job, Austin.
Woo! I'm crushing
All
it.
praise.
Yay.
He's just good at this job.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.